Hello, hello. How is the audio? Hello and welcome to TRL Turbo Racing League. This is round 2 and we are in Hungary today. Today the grid's a bit different from last round. We've got quite a large number of reserves. We have Black Shadow, sorry, not Black Shadow, that's his other name. There we go. We have M. Schumacher 9406 coming in as reserve for Alexios. We've got J. Henson coming in as reserve for Adude, MUFC 7. We've got VFL Martial coming in as reserve for Tan 29. We also have Godly Noob as reserve for Faxland and PRT A. Hubert coming in as reserve for Le Biscuit. So yeah, I hope you guys are all excited for the race. This is Q1, so things will start off a bit slow, as expected. As we see, the Alfa Romeo coming out already on mediums, looking maybe to get a bit of practice in. Get a few other drivers on the outlap: Martins in the Red Bull, Usher, Het, Jamie, VFL Martial and M. Schumacher. Who seems to be leading the pack, so he'll be probably the first to set a lap. Whoa. What the hell just happened? VFL Martial apparently crashed into Jamie Robertson and already got a 5-place grid penalty. That is something very weird indeed. I hope they did not crash into each other. As you see, Jamie Robertson now, sorry, M. Schumacher, starting the first lap of Q1 today. See, most of the drivers are now on an out lap, getting ready to set a lap time for Q1. It's a nice track, Hungary, one of my personal favorites, especially back on last game. And it'll be interesting to see as M. Schumacher goes wide and the game lets you go wide on that corner. As he touches the grass a bit, that will affect his lap time. But it will be interesting to see how the drivers line up with each other, how fast they'll be in comparison to each other. You know, last race they were pretty close, quite a few different battles going on. So hopefully we'll see the same close racing today. So you see so many drivers coming together. M. Schumacher and Het both setting somehow the first lap at the same time. Het to 1:15.5, Osher comes in now to 1:15.8, and M. Schumacher goes on 1:21.5. So 6 seconds off the gap. He'll need to improve on that if he'll be wanting to get into Q2. That's one thing for sure. Amir and Pedro both on the outlaps. As Martins comes across the line with a 116.5. VFL Martial 128.1. But he is on mediums, so he has room to improve, but still a slow lap. Andre comes in with the fastest lap of qualifying, a 114.3. So till now quite variating lap times. People are still probably getting the rubber in, getting used to the track. And Jay Henson with a 116.3. It will be interesting to see how Jai Fletcher, last podium position man, qualifies. And MLT, I didn't catch that, retired from the session. I'll be looking into that, see what happened to MLT. But moving swiftly on. Pale who's currently doing his lap, finished second last race. He'd be looking to again have a strong performance today. It's interesting to note, last race he was only a reserve driver, but one of the drivers backed out from the league, so he's now a full-time driver as he rounds the final corner. Puts himself in 7th place at 117.1. I reckon he can improve on that, considering his performance last race. As Gexy, who was pronouncing his username wrongly last session, is on his outlap. Fellow admin of TRL. As Sonev comes through with a 114.6, still 3/10 of Andre, but a pretty solid lap. It's in 2 laps. And I wonder if VFL Martial will end up coming out on softs. He should. Kenger does 133.6. Seeing a lot of people making quite a few mistakes probably to get these slower lap times, I'm assuming. As M. Schumacher has come out again, he's on an outlap. Godly Noob, one of the reserves for today in the Racing Point, getting ready for his lap. Not much to say, you know, it's only Q1 and people are still getting used to the track, probably setting in some practice, considering all the mistakes that have seemed to be done in valid laps. As Jai Fletcher now, rounding the penultimate corner of Hungary. It will be interesting to see the lap time he does compared to the rest of the field. Almost spun out there, but it was a nice save. It'll impact his lap time a bit, but again, tiny mistakes are not too costly in Q1. You know, you just want to make it to the top 15. And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. Jai Fletcher was a driver who seeming like he could win last race, as people are going side by side in qualifying. McLaren if I'm guessing, M. Schumacher and Jai Fletcher kind of going side by side there. That's apparently there have been a lot of impeding of laps already in Q1. As we see Jai Fletcher now rounding the final corner, puts on DRS, and he's gonna get a third place, 1:14.8. He was impeded a bit, but still a good lap time, especially considering there was driver in his way. And again, strong performance from the two Mercedes, as Godly Noob puts in a 1:14.5. The 2 racing points and 2 Mercedes. Strong performance so far. Jamie Robertson also on an outlap. Sebi Debi and Uber both on laps, but Sebi Debi invalidates his. Still a lot of time though to catch up and do a lap, as PRT goes round the final corner now. Puts on the DRS and puts himself in 5th, 1:15.3. Now I reckon all these times from like the 1:17s onwards, I reckon all these times can be improved on, like easily. So I think we'll have a lot of more close competition in later on into this qualifying session. Especially VFL Martial now. He's doing another lap on mediums. I find this interesting. I don't see the reason behind it, but to each his own. As the game is glitching, saying PRT is in 5th without doing the lap, but you'll have to see it. And Sebi Debi still needs to do a lap along with Jamie Robertson and Gexy, who's on an outlap, probably invalidated his lap and is going again. KCDB will start on last after not being able to do a lap. Bashful Cloud on another outlap will probably want to be getting a better lap time to definitely put him into the top 15 and stay secured there. Son F putting in, and again, 4 laps. Even last qualifying could put in a large number of laps, wanting to really get ready for the race, get the best possible lap time he can out of his car. As I have to invite the driver, because apparently he DC'd and I did not realize. Drivers usually have multiple invites so they can join at any time, but I guess it was my mistake and I didn't send that. And now we're back, and Sebi Debi still on his outlap. Jamie Robertson still in the pits, he'll be wanting to get out and set the lap ASAP, and Gexy is just ended sector 1, 26.6. Oh, Jamie needs an invite. Well, I will send one right away. Again, surprised how he doesn't have extra, but my bad. They'll send to both of them and another invite, just in case they have more connection issues. As Gexy crossed the line in 6th place, 1:15.1. So it seems to be that we've got these 5 drivers that have done 1:14 point something, and the rest of the field slotting in 1:15s and 2 drivers in 1:16s, and as I said, I reckon the rest of the people outside of the, well, from 1:17.0 onwards, I reckon they can improve their lap time, put themselves in a 1:16 point something. Like Pedro did, he put himself in a 1:15.7. Amir's just started his lap now. He'll be looking to improve on that, because he's in a risky position. Jamie Robertson is on an out lap. Hopefully he has no more connection issues. As VFL Martial still doing laps on the mediums. I hope he knows that the tires you start on are the ones in Q2, not the ones in Q1. And if not, I mean, don't know what kind of strategy he is going for. As again, we seem to have two drivers almost side by side. Amir was able to improve on his lap time, I think, 117.8, but still, he's in 15th place. Still a risky position. Seppi Debbie, 116.2. Again, game glitching, saying he's done 0 laps. What is what is it? The two Alfa Romeos somehow have done 0 laps. So Kangar will be looking as well to improve after set 133.6. Made some costly mistakes. Deru got a 115.0. Very close to the 114s. Strong lap time. As Jamie Robertson now is getting ready. I'm to set a lap and he'll be wanting to. He's in the pit. How's he in the pit? The game is glitching, or there are more connection issues. Hopefully there aren't. But anyhow, Bashful Cloud on an out lap. Jai Fletcher sets the fastest lap of the race, 114.1, almost into the 113s. That's some fast lap times. As Het is what 1/1000th of Sonev. That is close. As to McLaren not leaving much room for the Mercedes to go by unless they're both doing a lap, because then yeah. Jamie Robertson is again in the pits. I don't know what's going on with him. I hope everything is okay. Kangar is on outlap. I think we're having some connection issues, because unless he invalidated his lap, because then that makes sense. But with 45 seconds left in qualifying, these drivers, bottom 12, they'll be looking to set. Sorry, not bottom 12, the bottom 8 will be looking to set some more laps, get themselves into the top 15. Amir has invalidated his lap. He'll be going around. Oh, he won't be going around one more time. He'll be going into the pits. He is in 16th place, so that means he will get knocked out of Q1. M. Schumacher going for one last lap. VFL Martial still on the mediums. Jamie Robertson still in the pits, so I reckon Jamie Robertson, Martial, KCDB office gas, he's retired. Amir are all out. M. Schumacher will be looking to set a lap to get himself into the top 15, which puts Bashful Cloud at risk, who's also doing one more lap, but he is down on his delta. He'll be needing to step up on the gas through sector 3 if he wants to make sure he stays in the top 15. As M. Schumacher is on the grass, that will run his lap, so Bashful Cloud should be in the top 15, and that should put M. Schumacher into the bottom 5, which means he won't make it to Q2. And yeah, Jamie Robertson was having connection issues, which is unfortunate. He will start in 20th if he manages to even race, which puts KCDB in 19th. So if you take a look at the lap times before the session ends, we've got top 6 in the 114s. I think the Ru had improved on his lap time. One of the, I think it was Het that improved on his lap time to get himself into the 114. Top 6 and 114s. Then midfield, so to say, is within the 115s, and then we've got the rest of the grids, 116s, 117s, playing it out, seeing what they can do. So Bashful Clouds, best time was a 117.2. They'll be looking to do better in Q2. so he can get himself into Q3 along with Jay Henson, Seppi Debbie, who came in third last race, started last, came in third. Excellent race from him. Martins as well was doing pretty well, and Osher, they'll be looking to get into the top 10 to get into Q3. As Q1 has come to a close. Just waiting for the game to sort itself out and we can let Q2 start. Fortunately, some drivers have gotten held up during qualifying. I mean, they can report that in the incidents later on if they wish to. But from as of right now, there's not much we can do. I remember, I think it was VFL Martial got a 5-place grid penalty, so because of contact with Jamie Roberts, it might have been another driver. But someone definitely had contact and gotten a 5-place grid penalty. I think I can actually check that through the race director. It was VFL Marcel indeed got the 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be starting in 20th, Jamie Robertson in 19th, and KCDB in 18th. Again, I am perplexed why Martial was going out on the mediums. KCDB didn't manage to set a lap because I think he crashed out. And Jamie Robertson just unfortunately was having connection issues and couldn't even set a lap. Again, strong performances from the Mercedes and the Racing Points, and Williams of Het right behind them. His fellow teammate of the Williams was Jamie Robertson. It's a shame, connection issues. Not fun for him, not fun for the rest of us either. As Q2 is underway. And yes, Mercedes is indeed OP. Unfortunately. I'd rather see Ferrari on top myself. No bias whatsoever. As PRT comes out again. Sorry, again. It comes out first. We see a lot of other drivers, both Mercedes coming out at the same time. A lot of drivers coming out pretty quickly in the qualifying sessions. You know, instead of, they could just wait a bit and then go out so they'll have some clean air, won't have any drivers around them. But PRT will be the first to set the lap time as long as he doesn't invalidate it. And apparently, VFL Martial didn't know about the wave that I think assumed it was short qualifying. And assumed it was short qualifying. He knew it was full qualifying. I let him know about that. Maybe assumed it was short, because that way you do start on, I think on short qualifying you start on the tires you do your lap on, which would have made sense, as now we see many drivers trying to do a lap on mediums. And if they can do a lap fast enough to get themselves into the top 10, they'll be starting on mediums, give themselves an advantage. So I see Kengar is retired. PR Tuber now about to start sector 3 for the first lap of Q1. As we see the McLaren warming up his tires in the background on softs, so probably preempting a lap on the softs, because you know, unless you've got a really good lap on the mediums, then you'll need to be coming out again on the softs to set a lap time and definitely set yourself into the top 10. As PR Tuber now comes across the line, 1:15.8 on the mediums, a strong lap. A pretty strong lap for the mediums. Now we'll just have to wait and see if that will end up putting him into the top 10. Martins comes across the line with a 1:16.8 on the mediums. Will he be looking to do another lap on the mediums, or will he just stick to the, or will he just pit and try the lap on softs? As Bashful Cloud got disqualified from the session, parking in a dangerous location. Well, that is unfortunate. He was probably just letting drivers go by, and instead the game DQ'd him. As Andre gets the fastest lap, 1:15.8 as well on the mediums. And Deru has got a 1:15.8 on the mediums, Seppi Debi 1:15.3 on the softs. And I don't know what the time difference is between a lap on softs and a lap on mediums, but as I could say assuming it's, but I guess assuming is just not great. Strive Fletcher sets 1:25.8, probably made a mistake. He's going to be looking to do another lap on the mediums. He'll be wanting, because he would be wanting to start on the mediums, as he does get fastest sector 1 according to the game. Gexy 1:15.2 on the softs. No drivers into the 1:14s just yet. So Osher sets a 1:15.8 on the softs. So I'm assuming, as long as Jay Henson does a lap, as he's coming into the pits just about now, set and validated lap time, so he'll be needing to come out again. As long as he sets lap time though, he'll be starting from at least 13th, with Bashful Cloud in 15th and Kengar in 14th. As we see contact there, I think it was, yeah, Het and Sebi Debi. Now Het will be getting a 5-place grid penalty for contact, as Jai Fletcher does get the fastest lap on 1:14.6 on the mediums. Now guys, when I tell you that is a blistering lap time, people were struggling to do that lap time in the softs, let alone on the mediums. This guy is flying. League of Zone. Absolute blistering lap. As Osher will probably be looking to come to the pits, or is getting ready to go for another lap. Sonevs at 1:50.8 definitely made a mistake along the way. He'll be looking to do another lap. Het will need to pit and come back out due to the wing damage. Unfortunately for Het, he got brake checked and got a 5 grid place penalty. Which is quite a shame. Godly Noob now. Looking to set a lap. He placed in the top 5 last time around. Sonev putting his racing point in 4th, 1:15.3. Only 2 1,000ths of a second off Seppi Debi, who's on the softs. So a strong lap from Sonev. He'll probably be starting on mediums without any worries. As Godly Noob sets 1:15.9 on the mediums. I reckon he can do a faster lap than that, considering his lap time on the softs in Q1. Het is now again on an out lap. So is Pedro, and so is Jay Henson. Oh, sorry, no, Jay Henson is still in the pits. Zandre is on an out lap on the mediums, so I'm guessing he's looking to set a faster lap time to solidify himself into the top 10 on those mediums. But would it have been smarter to just come out on softs? We'll have to wait and see. And Jai Fletcher, I wouldn't be calling Mercedes OP again in Q2, you know, you're not 1-2 just yet. So, let's wait on that. Get back to you in 7 minutes. Asgodli Noob's trying to set another lap. He'll be wanting to set a better lap time on those mediums if he can. If he has them, I reckon he does. But still, will it be enough to get himself into the top 10 by the end of Q2? As Martins is also looking to do another lap on the mediums. Probably made a mistake first time round. See what he has in him. And Jai, well, hopefully you don't crash in the race again like you did in Austria. But then again, did prove for an interesting race, so hey, maybe you do crash out. And that's a shame, Benjamin. Controller went crazy, crashed into the wall. It's a big shame. It's like brake failure. I assumed you were Kenga, but just to make sure. As long as Jay Henson's still in the pits, I wonder if he's having any issues or he's just deciding to stay in the pits. Either way, I mean, well, not either way, he'll be wanting to come out and set the lap time. Paydrill and Het both haven't set lap times yet. And Paydrill's lap time is invalidated. He came second last race, so he'll be wanting to get a move on. And same with Het. He was having a good race, did crash out as well, but he was having a good race last race. As I say that, he puts himself in 6th place, 150.5 on the mediums. While that is a strong lap time on the mediums, 2/10 off Sonev. I don't know if it will be enough to get him into Q3. I mean, there's a lot of lap times on mediums, but if these guys start coming out on softs, they could very well get a faster lap. And yeah, it's unfortunate that some people were getting held up in traffic, so ruined some of their lap times. Especially not getting into Q2 makes life even more annoying when you're getting held up that much. As we see now, people coming out on softs. PRT 114.9, Gexy 115.2, Sebi 115.3. Jai Fletcher still in first place, a good 3/10 off second, and also on mediums. As long as he doesn't crash, I reckon he's already got the race in the bag. Unless there's some late safety car that turns the race into some other ordeal. Godly Noob on an out lap. Smart call from him. Oh wait, never mind. I'm not sure if he is on an out lap. Okay, on softs. Smart call to definitely stay in the top 10. Looking to set a fast lap time. And this is what I was talking about now. He'll set a lap on softs. He'll probably finish ahead of some of these drivers on the mediums, and then unless they do a lap on softs, they'll be getting eliminated. It's a bit of a chain reaction. Unless you do a really good lap on mediums, you know, then it's hard to be able to stick with that lap time and not have to come out on softs. Even Sonev with the 115.3, the best lap time on mediums, not including Jai's lap time, is only in 5th place. When I say only, I mean while the rest of the field a lot of the field is still left to do lap times and on softs. He's definitely at risk. Martin's on an outlap, Paydrill on an outlap, Jay Hansen still in the pits. I don't think he's come out of the garage at all. So I hope everything's okay with him. As drivers still have just about over 2 minutes and 2 minutes and a half to get their lap times in. Martin started his lap going through sector 1. About to finish now sector 1, gets a 27.0 in Sector 1 as Godly Noob on the softs gets a 114.3, puts himself in first, 0.3 better than Jai's lap on the mediums. Strong lap from him. I wonder if we'll see any 113s in Q3. As we see Andre on an out lap. He is on the mediums. So I'm guessing he'll be looking to do a better lap on the mediums. Risky call. It's a risky call. He might have wanted to come out on softs, but we'll just have to wait and see. Usher's intent on the softs. Martins puts on DRS, comes across the line, puts himself in 8th with softs, 115.6. That puts Usher currently in the elimination zone of Q2. And he's in the pit, so I don't think he'll be able to get another lap in. Pale Drill will be looking to get another lap. Jay Henson's lap is invalidated, but it's only an out lap, so he'll have enough time to get another lap in. And he'll be hoping to get into Q3, as with 50 seconds left, Jay Henson crosses the line. One last time to get a lap and get into the top 10. Pale Drill as well, one last time to get into the top 10. Usher won't be able to. Deroux's in the pit, so he won't be able to defend his lap. And Pale Drill's lap is invalidated. The man that finished second last race will be starting in 12th or 13th, depending if Jay Henson can string a lap together. The 126.6, that's a strong Sector 1. As the rest of the field is mostly settled in. I think Andre, as we see him just lock up, he's also doing a lap. But quite unnecessary, although he doesn't know that, as the worst place he could come is 10th, and that will still send him to Q3. So now we are on board with Jensen. Can he get himself into Q3? 53.6 Sector 2. He's used up. I think the green bar is the amount of VRS he's used up. Yes, it is. As he comes through the final corner, opens up DRS, and he puts himself in 8th on the softs, 115.6. That means he'll be going to Q3 as another driver, Andre, set their lap on the mediums, 15.3. So that means that Deroux, Usher, Pale Drill, Kengar and Bashful Cloud will all get eliminated. They won't be going to Q3. Kengar had crashed out, Bashful Cloud got disqualified for stupid reasons, and they won't be able to get into Q3. And they had Jay Henson. It is a good start, first race ever to be starting in Q3. Now Het has a 5th place grid penalty, and it's not applied now. I'm not seeing it being applied now. So maybe we can fix that. I'm not sure if we can though. We'll have to see what happens in Q3. Quite a number of drivers will be 4 drivers will be able to start on the mediums. Sonev, Andre, Het and Jai all be able to start on the mediums. And also on the top 10, so good stuff from them. As Q3 is now underway. As I think, I definitely saw someone while I was typing away on my laptop. I definitely saw someone come out, and well, multiple drivers come out. Most of the 10 drivers have come out, in fact. But the person who went out first is Het in the Williams. Everyone will be doing laps on softs. As he rounds the final corner now. And he'll be the first to start a lap. As then on the minimap we can see the Red Bull of Martins, also on clean air, the two Mercedes trailing each other, followed by the Alfa Romeo, one of the two Alfa Romeos, McLaren and the Renault. As my cat is probably heard in the background, Het obviously gets fastest sector 1, 26.6. Now if I'm not mistaken, that's a pretty decent sector 1, but he'll probably be looking to do better later on in Q3, as drivers normally go out twice in Q3. As he touches the grass a bit, I wonder if that will affect his lap time. As I have to invite a driver who got eliminated on earlier. I'll be doing that later because I want to see the lap time Het gets as he crosses the line. He gets a 1:14.4, a strong lap, a very strong lap. Not in the 1:13s just yet, but I reckon that's a lap time that can put him into the top 5. And as I say, as I'm speaking about the 1:13s, Jai Fletcher has only gone and done it. Not only did he get into the 1:13s, a 1:13.6. This guy is fast. So under his fellow teammate 1:14.0 in second, Gexi 1:15.0. Sebi Debi 1:15.2 and Martins 1:15.6. I wonder if he made a mistake, or if that's a speak. Jay Henson 1:16.0. So, and Sonev comes in with a 1:14.4. Godly Noob on his outlap. PRT still in the pits. And now we can take a bit of a look at the battles we'll be seeing during the race for the top 10. Jai Fletcher probably in a bit of his league of his own, but it's a bit of a gap between 4/10 gap is again between Andre and Het, but then Het has close competition with Sonev, and then Gexi and Sebi will probably be fighting each other, and Martins and Jay Henson 4/10 and 8/10 respectively off Sebi Debi, as PRT is still on his outlap, and Godly Noob, PRT has come out of the pits and is on an outlap, and Godly Noob has started his lap. As now I will invite one of the drivers I need to invite. As I see the background of my invite screen, the Racing Point is about to come across the line, as I sent him an invite, and if the game will work, he puts himself in 5th with a 1:14.5. Jai Fletcher is going for a 1:13.3. Can he pull it off? He'll get himself 7/10 away from second place. You see the Williams in between. The hell just... Oh, my headphones just dropped. As we see the Williams of Het in between the two Mercedes and the two Racing Points. Followed then by Gexi, Sebi, Martins, Jensen, and PRT hadn't validated his lap, so he'll be looking to set another lap time if he's got the fuel for it. As he didn't have enough fuel, so he'll be going into the pits and he'll be coming out again. Important to note, drivers can get a extra set of softs for Q3, specifically for Q3. Martins on an out lap, he'll be looking to improve 115.6, 4 tenths off Sebi Debi. If he can improve by 4 tenths, he'll put himself into 7th. Jay Henson, 116.0, if I was informed correctly, or if I remember correctly. This is his first ever league race, and he's in Q3, so congrats to him. And PRT will be looking to go out again to set that lap. As Jai Fletcher comes out of the pits, looking to find some extra pace in what is already most probably a pole position lap. Andre is also on a lap, 2 tenths off his delta. Het's on an out lap, Sonev in the pits, along with his fellow Racing Point teammate, the reserve Godly Noob. Gexi in the pits, Sebi Debi on an out lap. He went from 20th to 3rd. So, pretty fast guy. Hasn't been performing up to that standard in this race. Maybe it's just not the best of races for him. Maybe not his favorite track, so be interesting to see if he'll be getting a better lap. So Martins is in his lap. So we see him coming through sector 1. PRT is on an out lap. He gets a 26.9, almost a tenth of his initial delta. And it will be interesting to see if Jai can improve on the 113.6 lap time he got. Het's also out, he'll be looking to snag 2nd place. Sonev on the out lap. It's Martins now, coming through the penultimate corner. And now through the final corner. He's gonna put on the DRS. And stays in 8th place, 2 tenths off. Jay Henson on an out lap. Can he do something to get himself into a higher position? It's PRT now 26.6 in sector 2. Sorry, I think that was sector 1. That was the sector. Wow, I can't speak. 26.6 was the time he had in sector 1. But while I was speaking and mumbling, he invalidated his lap. So if he has enough fuel for another lap, it's now or never. Because if he doesn't do it now, he's going to be starting in 10th place. Martins' lap also invalidated, and I don't think he's going to have enough fuel for another lap. But if he does, he'll be looking to push on. But if not, he'll be sticking in 8th place or lower. Sebi Debi's lap is also invalidated, but I think he's just setting himself up now for another lap, as the last laps now will be would be going would be being done, and Jai Fletcher, who who was going for a better lap time, ended up crashing out. As Uber now is coming through Sector 2. Almost at the end of Sector 2, he'll be looking to set his first lap of Q3. Be his only lap, as he invalidates, as I was saying, it's going to be his only lap, and he'll be wanting to get higher than 10th. Unfortunate that he invalidated and he goes straight into the wall. Well, that's not amusing. It's Jay Henson, 16.0. He'll be wanting to improve. Martins is in the pits. Makes sense. Sebi Debbie, we're looking to improve. Gexy, Noob, Sonev, Andre, and Head all looking to improve on their lap times. Jay Henson invalidates his lap. He'll be starting in 9th. So that means 10.98, they're all sorted out. PRT will start in 10th, Jay Henson in 9th, Martins in 8th. Sebi Debbie, whose Sector 3 seems to be taking a long time according to the game. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, and that means he'll be starting in 7th. We'll find out in just a short moment. As well, he's dancing around, so I'm guessing that, yep, the game was right. He's going to be starting in 7th. Gexy, 2/10 off his delta, so he's going to be improving on his lap as long as he can get this final hairpin done correctly. Puts on DRS. And Gexy comes across the line, puts himself in 5th. That's one place up. But Noob comes across the line. Can he go better? He can. They go back to how they were. Noob with a 114.2 and Gexy with a 114.4. So Q3 is done. Unfortunate for Jay Henson, his lap got invalidated, and I did not see that while I was commentating on the rest. Sonev got a 113.8, only 2/10 off Jai Fletcher, and that tightens up the first position. They'll be fighting for first place. Don't know what the game is waiting for, but waiting for the game to go. Ah, there we go. So as I was saying, Sonev put himself in 2nd, Het in 3rd, Andre in 4th, Godley, Noob in 5th, Gexy in 6th, Sebi in 7th, Martins in 8th, Jay Henson and PRT 9 and 10. PRT wasn't even able to set the lap time, kept invalidating his lap. Pretty unfortunate. As we are loading into the race, Het will have a 5 grid place penalty if I'm not mistaken. So that's sad. As the drivers are loading in. And while they do that, I'm gonna be back in a second. And I'm back, and I don't think this is the race starting. I think this is the formation lap. It seems like the formation lap. The drivers seem just to take a long time to start up. So one more time, I'll go through the grid. We've got Jai Fletcher in the Mercedes in first, Son Evans second, Andre in third with the fellow Mercedes, and Godly Noob in fourth in the fellow Racing Point. Trading places, the Racing Point, the Mercedes and the Racing Points. We've got Gexy in fifth, Sebi Debbie in sixth, and Martins, Het, Che Hensen and PRT all DSQ'd. Guessing they had some contact during the formation lap. Deru in 11th, Osher in 12th, Pedro in 13th, fellow teammate Kengar in 14th, Bashful Cloud in 15th, Almir 16th, the other McLaren of M. Schumacher in 17th, MLT in 18th, Jamie Robertson 19th, and VFL Martial in 20th. And I think somehow VFL Martial has wound up in front of Jamie Robertson during the formation lap. So as we see some drivers coming through, we have some people starting on hards, some people starting on softs, and most people starting on mediums. And when I say some people starting on hards, I mean just one driver in Bashful Cloud. Is this some smart strategy that the drivers aren't seeing? Is he seeing? We'll find out shortly. 35 laps of the Hungarian GP, almost underway. Hello to Lil Dares, as we have 5 red lights. And the camera's still facing this direction, and it's lights out, and away we go. Well, it's not lights out? What's happened here? Het seemed to have taken off and got DQ'd. I swear I saw the lights come on. And the game's glitched. I think we'll be needing to restart the lobby then. Yeah, drivers, yep, restarting. Oh, the lobby's gonna have to be restarted. Alright. A real shame, but it's something we'll have to do. So the race will have to be restarted. I have to reset up the lobby and take in the qualifying that has been done earlier. 2 times in a row now we'd have to restart the lobby. I also need to change my keyboard settings because I can't find my ad. And I can't let the drivers know that we're restarting. Gotta love the game when it does stuff like this. Unfortunate that 2 weeks in a row we've had to restart the lobby. But what can you do if Codemasters are... the game's not working well? Not much we can do about it. As everyone has been invited, now I'll be setting up the lobby and reminding the drivers of some rules. That happens on restarts. Yeah, I know, just making sure I invite everyone and do everything properly. Actually, I need to be informed of the weather. So now one last thing I need to do, I need to set the grid. Unfortunately, these things take time. Make sure everything is set up properly. That's why it's really annoying when the game decides to go full bonkers on you. But oh well. I don't think everyone's joined the session yet. We're missing 2 drivers still, they need to join, hopefully. Alright, so all drivers have joined. I have to set myself to spectator. Although, if I do, I can't fix the lobby, so can't do that just yet. It's my first time setting up the custom grid, so not great. Don't have the experience of it. So that Jamie Robertson, KCDB, Schumacher, Amir. And now I have to find the timings of Q2. Yeah, I know, and I have to do the track as well. It's just I want to get these things down first. So Paschal Cloud is on 15th. Kanger, Pale Drill, Usher and the Roo. Where are they? Okay. Padriel, Usher on 12th, the Roo on 11th. And as for the Q3 standings, got Uber in 10th. Jay Henson. Martins is in 8th. Seppi Debbie in 7th. Gexi in 6th. Totally Noob in 5th. Andre 4th. Het is 3rd. So now 2nd, Jai 1st. That should be the correct lineup. Almost good to go. I think I can tell everyone to ready up once more. And hopefully the grid is alright, settings hopefully is all okay. Het did indeed have a 5-place grid penalty, but it was for being crashed into, if I'm not mistaken, so, or some other issue, but it was not his fault, so I ended up not giving it to him. Hopefully now the lobby works, and we don't have to restart again, because it would be very annoying indeed if we do. Hungary, not the longest of tracks, only 13 corners. Hopefully the lobby does not have issues. I wish all the drivers luck as people are still joining in. Well, actually it seems like no one's joined in yet. Which is absolutely brilliant. Okay, people are starting to load in. Formation lap is underway. I hope all the drivers are going to start on the same tire they chose during the first qualifying, which they haven't. Which they have not indeed. People will be getting penalized for that. And I think we're going to need to restart the session. Yeah, I know, I think Sebi Debi was somehow moved down from wherever it was meant to be to P20. The game put him down there. Hopefully it fixes, and if it's not, we'll have to restart. Plus, people not respecting what tire they started on as everyone's getting DQ'd from the formation lap. What the hell are these drivers doing? So if Sebi Debi doesn't get that sorted out, we'll need to restart. Yep, we are gonna have to restart. The game glitched. Oh my god. The lobby's gonna have to be restarted again. Game glitched on Sebi Debi, he shouldn't be in last. And also some of the drivers were choosing the wrong tire. Formation lap will be disabled. I don't think it's the cause of the issues, but just in case it is. Now hopefully people choose the right tire, because they didn't do that anyway last time around. These restarts are getting tiring. Some people still need to join. Before I can start it up. Hello, Aiden. I'm hoping we have a smoother experience now. Formation lab's gonna be disabled. Hopefully it just makes life easier. I don't think Kangaroo is going to be joining. Now hopefully, for one more time, I just need to set up the grid. You know, people will say, come on, let's go, but these things take, unfortunately, they take quite a lot of time. I'm trying to hurry up, but as I said, these things take their time. No, some people got a +1 place because Kengar is not joining. And I just need to find the Q3 lineups so we can get this underway once again, hopefully for the final time. Everything should be good. Gonna tell one more time to ready up. I hope the drivers select the tire they qualified on. Hopefully you won't have any more issues. No need to restart. The race has been delayed for so long. Hopefully now the drivers join. They set up. They do the setups, choose the right tires, choose the pit stops, the strategy, sorry. I wish all the drivers luck, especially connection wise, and that we won't have need to restart again. Formation lap has been disabled, so we're just gonna go straight to the lights. And it's lights out and away we go. The Mercedes, a lot of people seem to be getting away well as the Racing Point touches the grass a bit, and we're 4 wide. We're 4 wide through turn 1, 3 wide mostly, as I think the driver selected the correct tire, so that should not be an issue. And we've got the 2 Racing Points in first, then the 2 Mercedes in third and fourth. Sorry, I said 2 Racing Points in first. They're 1 and 2 as they are side by side. Godly Noob and Son F as we've got yellow flags. And that is there was a crash in the background. I think it might have been the house of Amir, I'm not sure. So Godly Noob is still in the lead. And we've got a VSC. I think Martins might have just lost some front wing. And I don't know who's involved in the collision. VFL Martial seems to have been involved in the collision. As we see a Haas spin on the VSC. That was the house of Amir. Usher dropped in 18th. There seems to have been many collisions. Jim Robertson has left the session. I'm guessing connection issues. I've invited him before again, hopefully. I'm gonna send another invite just in case. We're still under VSC, and I am unsure what happened. We take a look at the position changes. Jamie Robertson gained 6 places. Usher dropped 6. We're still under VSC. Sebi Debi's Head's having to pit. And I don't know what really happened to cause all of these incidents. But I think we are back. We are not back. We might be back. I don't know if we're back racing yet. I think we are though, considering the speed they're going. And we're just yellow flagged all throughout. As we see, Godly Noob has spun. And Andre's in first. He must have gotten past Sonev while we're spectating Godly Noob when he span around. Jai Fletcher's dropped 2. Gexy's gone up 2. Martins is up 3. Uber is up 4. And the drivers seem pretty spread out because of all the collisions and incidents, as Gexy and Jai almost side by side. Gexy though couldn't get the moves on, couldn't even peek down the inside, would have cost them a lot. KCDB I think has avoided a lot of collisions, I'm not sure though. DRS is enabled. Andre gets the fastest lap of the race. Quite a few time penalties being given already, as we see Gexy trying to go around the outside of Jai. And J. Robertson again left the session. Godly Noob gets a 5-second time penalty. And Jai and Gexy were side by side, and Gexy managed to get past Jai. He's dropped 3 places. He was leading the race, started in pole position. And I'd like to see the interval between drivers. There we go. As you see some drivers clipping the grass on their way to the corner. Jai Fletcher and Gexy again. Oh, they were side by side for a bit. Jai tried to get moved on Gexy. He's on the Jai is on the slower compound. He's on the mediums, but he's the faster driver. So will he be able to get past Gexy? He will have DRS on Gexy, but Gexy will also have DRS from Sonev, as Andre is leading the pack 1.3 seconds away from Sonev. As we see Jai now almost lost the rear, it seemed, trying to go around the outside of the McLaren. And we've got another VSC. Jay Henson has spun and DNF'd. And that is unfortunate. It was his first league race. He managed to get into Q3, and he spun. I'm assuming he spun and crashed, and that's a shame. Sebi Debi currently finds himself in 19th, dropped down 12 places. This man went from 20th to 3rd last race, now finds himself in virtually last. Somehow we don't have one of the drivers on the grid. Oh yeah, because Kenger couldn't join again for the restart. Gexy and Jai still close. Jai did manage to get past Gexy. Jai is also pretty close to Sonev, and Sonev still keeping a 1.3 second gap away from Andre. Obviously it's VSC, so not much they can do. VFL gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. And Sebi Debi, I wonder if his thing is glitched or if he is really that far behind. As many people, well, not many people, two of the drivers in front entered the pits, as racing is back underway. As we see the Haas of Amir kind of close to the Ferrari of Bashful Cloud. Amir will have DRS coming through. Oh, sorry, after turn 13, as Godly Noob and M. Schumacher are fighting it out, and Amir is trying to catch up to Bashful Cloud. But Godly Noob, one of the front runners, who ended up spinning, will now have to drive back through the grid, through the field, and has currently gained a place. He finds himself in 15th, getting past M. Schumacher. KCDB up 5 places. Good stuff from him. Gexy's down 5. I think he pit. Actually, we can check that as to who's pit and who hasn't. At least I thought we could. There we go, stops. So yeah, Het. These drivers from the bottom 10 have all pit. VFL Marcel has had to pit twice, which is a shame. Sebi Debi apparently didn't pit. I reckon the game is glitching a bit on Sebi Debi. I don't think he's actually that far behind. We've seen it happen before last race. So PRT finds himself in 4th. Up 6 places. Pale Drill as well. Up 8 places in 5th. Again, many people have pitted. Half of the field has already pit. We'll be needing to wait and see how that plays out later into the race. You know, changing strategies and whatnot. As Godly Noob gets the fastest lap of the race for now, 1:17.8 on the mediums. So PRT is only half a second away off Martins. Amir closing that gap to Bashful Cloud. So Jamie needs another invite. This man has been having a lot of connection issues. I feel sorry for him. Amir still behind Bashful Cloud. PRT still behind Martins. He'll be looking to use that DRS now down this back straight. Well, sorry, main straight. He's closing the gap. I think he'll be able to go around the outside. He is on the harder compound, so he will be slower. And he couldn't get it done. Maybe he was looking for a bit of a switchback, as we've got more yellow flags. The game says Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3. I don't see a VSC or a safety car either. I think it's just on my end, because we see PRT is close behind Martins again. Might be biding his time to make the lunge. Godly Noob with DRS, trying to get the move down on Amir, but he also has DRS, so he won't be able to do that this time around, as Amir's been looking to make a move on Bashful Cloud for quite some time now. PRT is still half a second away off Martins. Gonna have to re-invite Jamie. As we see, the Red Bull of Martins enters the pit, so PRT goes up to 3rd, Godly Noob 3/10 off the Haas of Amir, who's 8/10 off Bashful Cloud, and Het, according to the game, is only a 10th off Oshar, but I think the game's going a bit nuts. As we see this battle for 14th, the racing point of Godly Noob. Sorry, battle for 13th. Bashful Cloud, Amir, and Godly Noob. Godly Noob started up high up the field, so he's looking to find his way through as quickly as possible. But the problem is with all the DRS train is a bit harder. But him and Amir are close to Bashful Cloud. They'll be looking to make it 3 wide into turn 1. No, they didn't. They made it 2 wide. Amir managed to get past Bashful Cloud. Godly Noob also managed to get past Bashful Cloud. Godly Noob now looking to make it side by side with Amir. Through turn 3. Tries to go around the outside. Now he'll have the inside line through turn 4 as they're still side by side. This is some brilliant racing. There was a bit of contact. And Godly Noob had to... well, I think he was going to lose the rear end, so he had to slow down a bit, and Amir got managed to keep the place. As we see the clouds coming in. We see the clouds slowly coming in, as there was a severe corner cut there from, I think it was from the Haas of Amir. Godly Noob managed to get through. As I think the game's now working properly. Het is half a second off Martins looking to use that DRS, and the clouds are coming in hard. Jamie Robertson still having connection issues, he's been constantly leaving. But heads half a second off Martins, and they rule 7 tenths, 6 tenths off Pedriel. MLT is currently in 12th, he started in around 19th, so he's having a good race. I think Sebi Debi, I think his game might be glitched, maybe even VFL's, I'm not sure. Isn't glitched on my end. We've seen it happen last time. And it almost looks like, I was gonna say it looks like their engines are smoking, but I think that's just rain. Or it's just the clouds. We're seeing like smoke coming up from the rear end as Deru is looking to make a move on Pedriel. He'll be looking to make the move now with DRS. Wide enabled, and we see Jai Fletcher in 6th place. He dropped a lot of positions, but he's looking to make his way back up through the grid, as the Roo couldn't get the move done on Pedriel. But he's looking now to go down the inside, couldn't get it done either. But this is some good defending from Pedriel, as the Roo will be looking to go down the inside, but can't get it done. The gap that was there quickly got snuffed out. Jamie Robertson, 2nd off KCDB. As Gexy and Het, both very close to Martins, who's then 4.8 seconds off Usher. And Jai and Deru all very close to Pedriel as well. Sonev almost 2 seconds behind Andre, can't keep up with the pace of the Mercedes. Obviously the cars are equal because it is a league race, but can't keep up with the pace of Andre. As those three are still square, and so are these three, all battling it out, but none of them able to get past one another. Maybe we'll see a move now through this straight. Deru and Jai Fletcher will have DRS, as we see Jai looking to make it side by side with Deru. Also goes past him, gets side by side with Pedriel, gets past Pedriel. That's a double overtake in one corner. But Pedriel's now making it side by side with Jai. He's got the inside line, Jai Fletcher's got the outside line. He got a bit more grip, I think, through the outside line through there. In fact, he does. And Jai Fletcher has made the double overtake a success. As Het also gets past Usher. He almost spun out there, and Martin's managing to keep the lead on both of them. As you see, it's 4 tight cars there. Gexy, Usher, Het and Martins all close by. It somehow lost sound from F1. There we go. Bashful Clouds retired from the session. We've got a VSC. M. Schumacher was 13 seconds off. Maybe we'll see Bashful Clouds' car. Oh, I don't know how we've only got a VSC there. That should be a full course safety car. He's crashed into the middle of the track. So that will end Bashful Cloud's race. And Sebi Debi's left the session. I wonder why that is. I'm going to send him people have spare invites, but I'm going to send him another one just in case. As people are pitting, you waste less time pitting during the VSC, so it's a smart call. Sonev gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. The VSC is now off. It's done, as we saw Deru. I think it was there was 2 cars in front. Martins and Het are side by side, along with Pedriel and I think it was Pedriel and Jai that was side by side. We've got 2 main battles here, both very close to each other, and slowly they'll also be coming together. They are separated by 10 seconds with PRT in the middle of them. As Jai Fletcher is 8 tenths off Andre, the 2 Mercedes up front, Pedriel 2nd off Jai, and Sonev half a second behind them. He's been losing places slowly. As Het is gaining on Martins, he's right on his tail. Gexy right on the tail of Bumpy, sorry. My bad. And Jai will be looking to use the DRS down this main straight to get closer to Andre. Maybe use DRS down the second DRS zone to get past. As Drew gets past Sonev, because Sonev has pit. And now I reckon Jai Fletcher will use DRS and try and make it side by side down into turn 2. He doesn't have enough straight though, so he's gonna remain in second. Sonev comes out of the pits in 7th with the Haas. I think that was the Haas of Osher close by. He's going side by side with Gexi, manages to stay ahead of Gexi, and this is a very tight midfield battle. Jai Fletcher still only 4/10 off his teammate. We've got these 4 drivers yet again close to each other. Martins, Hes, Bumpy, Sonev and Gexi all close to each other. Osher not far behind. And they're all, I wouldn't call it a DRS train just yet, but they are very close to each other indeed. Jai Fletcher still not being able to get past Martins just yet, as we see the racing point of Sonev made a look down the inside of Bumpy. I see now he's looking around the outside still. No, Bumpy placing his car really well, defending his position as much as he can. Again, a lot of the grid has time penalties. And now this is where the DRS train comes into effect a bit, as Sonev looks to make it side by side with Bumpy. Gets past him before the corner is even there. And Gexi also gets past Bumpy. But Bumpy is making it side by side with him, and Sonev making it side by side with Martins. Sonev manages to get past Martins, blocks him off well. That's some good defending, and Head gets past Gexi. This is a lot of action going on in one go, as the interval is just not showing for most drivers. This game is brilliant. This game is absolutely phenomenal. Jai Fletcher gets more time penalties, and these 4 drivers have been trading positions left, right and center. Oshar still behind them, not too far off. He'll be hoping one of them makes mistakes so he can pounce on that, as Sonev is now managing to gain a bit on Martins. Jai Fletcher still behind his teammate Andre. He's looking to use DRS, but still behind Andre. He might be able to make a dive bomb through into turn 1. Can't do it either, and as we've been seeing, that this DRS, while it's being useful, it's not really being enough to get you side by side. Not giving that much of an advantage, as Sonev on the mediums gets the new fastest lap, 1:17.6, as the interval has updated. Manages to put a 2-second gap between himself and Martins, who is struggling for position with for a long time, as Head tries to go around the outside of Martins. I really hate this camera angle when it does that, because I can't see the drivers, as Head and Martins are side by side. Gexi close behind. Martins managing to take the inside line and go ahead of Bumpy. As we see Sonev now, he's still ahead of them, and Bumpy managing to stay behind Martins. Martins blocking well. The drivers that have been in front have been really blocking well, defending well, making it hard for the driver behind to get past. Is Gexi biding his time, not making any irrational moves, at least not just yet. Jai Fletcher still 4/10 off his teammate. Off Andre, who's on the hards. Jai Fletcher is on the softer compound. He's been having DRS and he's still not being able to get past. Split window is open for the one-stop strategy. Well, I think that's gone out the window for most drivers. Apparently Sebi Depu's crashed into quite a few times, that's why he's in dead last. Well, 17th at least, which is a pretty big shame. It's Jai Fletcher 2/10 off his teammate, and Jai Fletcher almost took it down the inside, but again he's not having enough. He just needs that one last gasp to manage to get past, as his ERS is very low. Andre is not much higher. Pedriel 7.5 seconds off them, slowly catching up. The Rue half a second off Pedriel, 7/10, and PRT 5.5 seconds off them. Sonev is 3.7 seconds away. Head 2/10 off Martins. Now you see some drivers pitting. But these three drivers, they are very close to each other. Sonev was part of this pack, but he managed to drive away, managed to gain 5 seconds. Put 5 seconds between himself and Martins. Amir in 12th, half a second off KCDB. As Jai Fletcher gets past Andre apparently. He managed to use that DRS disadvantage as Deru is looking to get past Paledriel. Paledriel though managed to hold the position well, and I don't think it's drops of water just yet, but I thought I might have seen a couple, but I feel like it's still a bit early. It's very cloudy though, so it could be. It'll be interesting to see how the water will come into play. As Andre is actually 8 seconds off Jai according to the game, so maybe there was some pit stop or Andre made a big mistake, which I didn't catch. Yeah, it looks like Andre pitted, but I feel like it might have been an early pit stop. So most drivers on the grid of pit. Jai needs to, Paledriel and Deru need to, Osher also needs to. These three drivers still right behind each other. They've been going at it for so long, making an enjoyable race for themselves, squabbling for points, squabbling for positions. We saw Het looked right, looked left. Minor contact, I don't think he had any damage from that with Martins. Pedro now pits, that puts their Ruh into 3rd. And PRT, the silent driver, is now in 4th. Slowly gaining on the Ruh as well, I think. As the drivers all they're looking for position. Gexi manages to make it side by side with Martins. Round the outside, not managing to get it done. Actually goes a bit wide route there. Now will he look down the inside of Martins? He looks down the inside. Martins having the better land on the outside and managing to block him off, and also has the inside line through that corner. As I need to send another invite. But boy, those three lads are giving me an interesting race to commentate on. The rest of the field mostly, well, there are some drivers quite close by, as we see actually Amir and KCDB fighting it out. KCDB tried to stick it around the outside. He still's got room for it. He's just around the outside. He'll have a bit more grip, but Amir manages to push him out of the way. KCDB looked a bit for switchback, but switchback doesn't really work through there. So he gets the position. Gexi now. Gexi, Martins and Het slowly, they're beginning to disperse from each other as Sonev's catching on PRT, and PRT's caught a lot on Deru. As PRT and that's the Alfa Romeo of, well, Sebi or Martial, and well, they should be letting him through. You know, blue flags. Gexi still within 1 second of Martin, so he'll still have DRS as the interval is once again glitching out on me. We are over halfway through the race. Once we hit lap 20, we'll have 15 laps to go. And honestly, time has been flying by as these drivers have been racing through. KCDB up into 12th. Godlinam up into 13th. I would have thought to be making up his way up through the field a bit faster, but hasn't been able to do that just yet. Deru, a strong race, up 8 places. Godlinam still down 8. As the interval just isn't really working properly. All I know is that Gexi is close to Martins. And Het's a bit further off from them. Sonev actually is right behind Deru and PRT. Oh, it was my mistake. It was the Alfa Romeo, I'm guessing, of PRT. Because VFL is a Ferrari, not an Alfa Romeo. It was my mistake of color coding, as these drivers I think are 3 wide, almost 4 wide. It's because the McLaren, I don't know who the McLaren of who that is between them all. I think it's a blue flag driver though, so he should be getting out of the way. Deroux managing is in 5th, Sonev in 4th, PRT managing to stay in 3rd. There's a bit of a confusion there with the McLaren. You know, and if you're a driver and you've got the blue flags being waved, you know, you should really be moving out of the way. You see the rubber of the tires settling in on the track. Pale drill in 10th, less than a second off Usher. He'll be looking to use the RS once the time comes. As Gexi, less than 3/10 off Martins, but Martins is 3.5 seconds off Het. Het's managed to pull away from Martins as well. We saw the same happen with Sonev, pulled away from Martins eventually. As Sonev is looking for a move down the inside on Martins. Sorry, not on Martins, on PRT. There was a bit of contact. He managed to get the moves on. Hopefully PRT has no wing damage. And Sonev also had DRS from that, so he's managing to stay a bit ahead. He's also on the softer tire. We see Pedro close with Usher. Almost made it side by side through, I think that was through a corner. My mistake, I don't know which corner it was. Martins and Gexi fought it out. Gexi managed to get past. And will we see Gexi also managed to pull away from Martins? It seems to be this trend where he's holding off the driver and then they managed to drive away. Sonev did get ahead of PRT, as we saw earlier, not far off ago, and PRT is slowly, I think he's slowly losing time on him. I think it's just the DRS managing to keep him behind Sonev. And Martins, 8/10 off Gexi. Will Gexi start to pull away? Pale Drill still 3/10 behind Usher. He'll be looking to use DRS when he gets it. I was gonna say, Deroux managed to get past PRT because PRT pit. Andre 10 seconds off Jai. Jai had a bit of a bumpy start, but now he still finds himself in first place with a 10-second gap. It's a big gap right there. Martins close by to Gexi. J. Robertson once again, connection issues. I'm gonna have to re-invite him. As Pale did at some point, probably not long ago, got past Usher, made it side by side. Whoa, there was some freaky stuff going over there between ghosting and not. Ghosting's off, so must have been some weird stuff happening over there. As almost every driver that's still racing has a time penalty. As we saw, a spun driver, I think that's a spun driver of Pale Drill. It is. The Alpha Tauri has spun, slowly making his way back onto the track. And that's unfortunate. That's going to really heat up his tires. Probably make a big dent in his strategy. I don't think he got front wing damage though, at least. So that's a good thing. But most of the drivers are now spread up. We've got Martins within a second of Gexi. Pale Drill has left the session. As Martins is struggling for grip. I'm going to re-invite Pale Drill just in case there's a connection issue. This is some really annoying stuff. And once again, the interval's glitching out. Usher going through. It's a glitched Williams. I think that might be the AI of Jamie. No, it's not Jamie Robertson. And this, I don't think it was Het either. I don't know what's going on there. Definitely weird. Some drivers spread out. Godly Noob actually, and KCDB. That's a ghosted out of Romeo. I think it might be done of Sebi Debi. as Godly Noob managed to get past KCDB, so he's slowly making his way back through the field. PRT a second off, less than a second off Gexy. PRT gets the fastest lap of the race. With the harness enabled, he's going to be looking to go down the inside of Gexy, but he's too far behind to get it done, or even consider the move, and luckily he didn't consider the move because it would have been a pretty big crash if he did. But now he's looking to go around the outside of Gexy. With the DRS enabled, he manages to get the move done before they even come to the corner, as Gexy now is trailing PRT. Het a bit over a second away from the Rue. Andre slowly losing more time to his teammate Jai. And we do see the rain coming in, so this is where strategy is important, when the drivers will start to pit. Unfortunately, we saw Pedro leave because his internet cut, and that is a big shame. And he's not able to come back, as we see Het go side by side with the Rue. Manages to get the move done down the inside. That was a really nice move. And drivers now will be looking to make their final lunges while the DRS is still enabled, because it won't be enabled for much longer with the rain coming down, as we enter the final 10 laps of the race. They're trying to use that DRS, make the most of it, while the DRS is still enabled. And as I was saying earlier, we have to see the strategy of when will drivers come into the intermediates. I'm guessing the intermediates at least. To pit. Who will go first? Who thinks they've got better grip on the slicks? You know, these decisions, going a lap later, a lap earlier, they all contribute a lot, especially when we're making this change from dries to wet and vice versa, from wets to dry. As Sonev apparently gets past Andre. Andre is going very slow. I think he spun. I think I'm seeing some of his front wing missing, so he'll be having to pit now. I'm guessing he's gonna have to pit on the intermediates. As you can see, as front wing's definitely damaged. He probably made a mistake, so that puts Sonev in second, 17 seconds away from Jai. Sonev had an unfortunate race, last race in Austria. He comes into the pits, I'm guessing, for intermediates, but he had an unfortunate race. Crashed early. People crashed into him on the start, and they had to pit. Early kind of ruined his race, then he was involved in more collisions. As you see, Almir's pretty close to McLaren. Doesn't seem to be a McLaren around him though, as we see people starting to pit for those intermediates, as Andros has to fix his wing, and Sonev on the intermediates. As Daru and PRT going side by side. I think PRT was trying to make the move on Daru, and Daru managed to stick in front of him. And PRT now goes down the inside, gets the move done. And Jamie Robertson has retired from the session. Don't know if he crashed, don't know if something happened, but the game says he DNF'd, so I'm guessing so. Although it looks like that's his Williams still racing along, so I'm a bit confused by that. Godly Noob, as we said, is cutting his way through the field a bit, slowly, bit by bit. He's 3/10 off, the DRS is still enabled, so I'm guessing slicks are still the better choice of tyre up till now, as it is a VSC, so I'm guessing Jamie Robertson did indeed crash, as he was looking to go around the outside of Pale Drill, but he won't be able to do it until the VSC is gone. Gexy is almost half a second of Sonev, and Deru a bit over 7/10 behind PRT, or actually of quite a bit of time now behind him, as Martin's got the drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC. We are back racing, in fact, and Almir managed to seem to get behind Godly Noob as Almir spins and gets front wing damage. Oh, that's a shame. He's making his way through the grid slowly. Pedro loses the position to Godly Noob. Sonev gets past Daru because Daru decides to pit, so does Het, and Sonev's back in third, 8 seconds off PRT. But PRT is yet to pit, so Sonev will find himself back in second when PRT decides to pit. And if Sonev can get a move on it, I was gonna say he can get past Jai, but he can't. Jai has already pit onto the intermediates. Finds himself 18 seconds away off Jai. It's Martins and Usher. Usher goes into the pits. I'm guessing Martin is making his way out of the pits. And we see most of the remaining of the grid pitting onto the intermediates. Is there anyone still left? There are still some people on softs and mediums and hards, but for the most part, most drivers have come in onto the softs. As you see the Red Bull, there's a Red Bull seems to be crashed out. It's Red Bull of Martins. I think he spun, probably due to the rain. He's dropping back a lot of positions. I think his front wing is still intact at least. ACDB in 12th. Got past Amir who just pit. Martins and Godly Noob also close by. I don't know why I said Godly Noob. Whoa, okay. Martins is still slowly recovering, if he even is. Tires probably overheated. PRT enters the pits. That puts 7 second, and Will Het manage to get past. I was gonna say Will Het get past, but VFL Martial has retired from the session, and we have a full course caution. That's a bit too NASCAR. We have a safety car, so that will bunch the drivers together. Sonev, who found himself 25 seconds off Jai, will now be right behind him, and by the time the safety car goes in, we'll have maybe 4 or 5 laps of racing. One final sprint at the end, and we'll see the pack now really close up. And there's quite a bit of gaps between some drivers, and the drivers who, you know, hadn't pit onto the intermediate set and were still doing fine will now be able to pit and lose a lot less time, and will be also on fresh intermediates, much more fresh to the remaining grid. As we see some people pitting. The race soon coming to a close. I was gonna say 5 drivers DNF, but I think Seppi Debi is glitched out, so I'm pretty sure he had left as well, because he got crashed into. Don't know what's happening there, but I'm guessing he basically counting him as retired. And then Schumacher over a minute behind Amir, who's in 13th, as we see the grid slowly coming together because of the safety car. So a lot of varied strategies: 1 stops, 2 stops, 3 stops. Jai Fletcher, not only the fastest man on the grid, managed to do this in a 1-stop strategy. Although I feel like that may be a glitch. If he managed to go all this way down on the mediums and then pit for intermediates, some good driving from him. Nursing those tires. We see some other drivers as well with just 1 stop. Got the Roo in 6th and Usher in 8th. Still have that safety car and drivers slowly punching up. As there's somehow a Renault and a... There was another driver bunched behind Jai. It's a Renault and Red Bull. As the Red Bull crashes into the Renault, the Renault, and drivers are slowly bunching up. But I think they may be lapped cars. I don't know what's going on really. Safety car not in yet. So we will have less than 5 laps of racing. Probably we'll be lucky to even get 4 at this rate, because the drivers are still very separated. But the safety car doesn't have to wait for the grid to punch up again. Unless the interval is lying to me, wouldn't be the first time. KCB seeming like he's just... I was gonna say, it seems like he's just losing time, but he's actually right there behind the safety car. I don't... The game's being a bit weird, but it wouldn't be the game if it wasn't being weird. Safety car not coming in this lap, so we're gonna have probably at least one more lap of the safety car. So we'll have only 3 laps of racing then. As most of the grid seems close together and the interval is just wrong really. And right now not much to say, except Sonev will be looking to pounce. But I say that there seems to be drivers in the way, back markers in the way, not in the correct positions. I'm a bit confused as to how that's happening. Still no signs of the safety car coming in this lap. It's a little bit early for the game to tell us, but we'll be wanting the safety car to come in this lap. At least we'll have 2 laps of racing in this rain. Sonev doesn't have a time penalty. Jai Fletcher, let's see how many the amount of time penalties he has. He's got 9 seconds. Oh wow. Safety cars in this lap. They'll be getting racing. We'll have 3 laps of racing. But with that 9-second time penalties, Jai Fletcher's gonna have a hard time winning this race. And Sonev, if he manages to not get any time penalties, manages to stay within 9 seconds, as long as none of those time penalties can end up getting removed after the race, could very well win it. As you see the safety car going in, Jai Fletcher rounding turn 10. You see some ghosting going on. And Sonev apparently managed, according to the game, got past Jai, and he did do that indeed. He managed to get past Jai. I don't know how he managed to do it, because Jai was well ahead of Sonev apparently in the restart, but he managed to get the place done. As I think I saw almost car spinning. We've got some cars going 2 wide, 3 wide. It's very confusing in the rain. Andre dropping down to 7. I think he might have been the driver I saw spin. PRT dropping down to 9th. Head somehow 2 seconds off Jai. Jai less than half a second off Sonev. He's looking to cut the margin. Gets you close to Daru. Andre looking to make it side by side with... Never mind not making it side by side with Russia. That's some McLaren going on. Codemasters have been having issues with the game, and it's showing in this race today. It's drivers placed around everywhere. As the field is very tight, time penalty is going to make a big difference with this late safety car. And Jai Fletcher. He won't have DRS assistance. due to the rain. So it's just gonna have to get past Sonev on pure skill alone. Got around the same amount of tire wear, but Jai manages to go. He's gonna manage to go down the inside of Sonev. As you probably hear my cat in the background, going down the inside, gets the move done. Sonev will be looking to come back, but he's not gonna be able to do it. Andre and Aif drop down far back, looking to make a move down the inside on Oshar. Oshar manages to stick it to him around the outside, bit of contact. It's touch and go. They're still side by side. Andre manages to get past Oshar. Oshar having to back out. Gexy pretty close to Daru, as Martins has retired from the session. He was already far behind. I think he had fallen back earlier. Godly Noob gets another time penalty. I think he seems to have spun or gone wide by mistake, so that's why that happened. Sonev 1.5 seconds off Jai, but Jai won't. I don't think he's going to be able to make that time gap. Godly Noob has left the session. I think that's a mistake. I'm going to re-invite him. There's been some internet issues. Pale Drill gets past Godly Noob. PRT gets past Andre. Honestly, considering it was just the grid was so tight and so bunched up because of the safety car, they've really managed to make some space between themselves. You know, like you'd expect more battles to be going on off when the safety car happens, but no, not really. We're in the penultimate lap. Oshar had to pit, probably got some front wing damage. Would have been smart, I think, to stay out instead of pit for just 2 laps. Well, that's my call. And there really isn't much to call, as Jai Fletcher slowly going along. He'll be starting the final lap of the race. It's been a long race, having to restart twice. It's been pretty annoying due to all the issues. You see Oshar is pretty close to Godly Noob, but actually I remember the game's glitching with KCDB. It's not actually that far off. Oshar gets past Godly Noob, but Godly Noob did leave the session. But now we'll just watch Jai as he's coming through the end of Sector 1 on the final lap of the race. As he spins, Jai spins on the final lap of the race, he gets front wing damage. He already had the time penalties. So Sonev, I just remembered that Jai had the time penalties, so he's probably not gonna win the race. You know, Sonev within 3 seconds and Jai having like at least 9 seconds of time penalties, Sonev will be winning the race. But we're on board with Jai because, you know, maybe time penalties can be removed. He seemed to have spun. I don't know if there may have been some weird connection issue on my end that he didn't spin, because it looked like he would have gotten front wing damage and his front wing looks pretty intact. As he comes through the final corner one last time, and Jai Fletcher wins the Hungarian GP, only for Sonev to steal it off him for not getting a single time penalty, and Jai Fletcher dropping to 4th because of the time penalties. Bumpy comes in 2nd, Gexy in 3rd, Deru in 5th, PRT in 6th, Andre in 7th, Pale Drill in 8th, Oshar in 9th, Godly Noob in 10th, MLT in 11th, Amir 12th, and M Schumacher in 13th, Sebi in 15th. Deru had a pretty good drive, went up 6 places today. Apparently Jai did have some stupid penalties which will get sorted out, so that'll probably mean he did win the race in fact. This has been a long stream today. A lot of stuff gone wrong. According to the game, PRT got driver of the day. He did have a pretty good race, went up 4 places. I thank you all for watching, for sticking with me all throughout. I hope you enjoyed this one, definitely had a lot to it. And I'll see you guys next week. Godspeed.